Good morning, good morning, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day this video may find you. Thank you so much for returning to my channel. If you are a returning viewer or one of my amazing subscribers, if you are new to the channel, then welcome, welcome. Listen, people, today's video is going to be on a really hard subject. But it is a subject that I believe that we all need to hear. The young, the old, those in the middle. Not so much children, but young adults. And what it is the reason why so many people from other generations have so much animosity towards the Gen X generation. The generation that was born between 1965 to 1980, okay? And I understand that, you may have been born in 64 or whatever, or 81, and you still was can have remnants of what these people that are in that birth range of the 1965 to 1980. Okay, so that's a lot, but I hope you understand that. So what I'm just trying to say is that generation are people that are in the generation that I was in. I was born in 1969, okay? And the thing is, I was born in a generation where we were told that working hard, if you work hard, that you would be able to excel in life. That the effort that you put in, that you would be able to have the American dream, And back then, the American dream was, the husband, the wife, the kids, and a white picket fence, right? And the white picket fence was your home, the property, right? And this was something that was like blocked out for so many for so long. This was something that was just afforded to certain white people, certain people that were in a certain stature, okay? But in the 1960s, okay, during the time when me and all of my siblings were being born, my mother's first child was born in 1964 and the baby 1972. So it was 5 of us. All of us was born during this generation, okay, the Gen X. And we were told these things, and so those of us that believed it and we worked really hard, we actually saw it. We actually saw the family, the husband, the wife, the kids, and the white picket fence, okay? But what we didn't see was that we were also being programmed to be controlled, we were given those things, okay, because there was a fight for it. Nobody handed it to us, so let me make sure I'm clear on that nobody handed the Gen X anything, period. Unless you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth and you're Gen X, you worked hard for whatever it is that you got. You worked hard. I can't tell my story on here because it'll be too long, but I will do a video to explain to you my background. But I worked hard. I had a lot. Gen X, we had to come over a lot of tribulations, a lot, to get to where we ended up at. Back during our generation, as with the previous generations, our parents and grandparents and everything, child abuse was something that was acceptable. Okay, it didn't start child abuse didn't start being a thing where you can report and they actually believe you. Because there were situations where, yeah, it was reported, but you weren't believed. That didn't come till later on. So actually, the benefits of being, protected and, being vindicated and everything about child abuse, including SA, the molestations, all that and everything. Most of us just lived through it. Majority of us, that was not something you didn't talk about. Even families, they didn't talk about those things. Those are secrets right now that lives in families. Families are very aware that, hey, Uncle such and such or Aunt such and such touched, little Johnny, little Susie. Or you have situations where older kids or children that were being exposed to, someone had, violated them, so they violated another kid. We had all those things going on, and we just had to just put things in the back of our minds and just keep moving forward on everything. All of the abuse, the physical, the mental, the emotional, all of it. And we told our children that they could be whatever it is they want to be, because that was the dream that was sold to us. It worked for us. So this is why we told our children that. We didn't tell our children that because we were tricking them, or we was telling them something that we knew wouldn't be able to be possible. We didn't know anything about the future, how things were going to look now, We also didn't understand about the programming that we had, the fathers. No one talks about the fact that fathers, the men, were trained to understand that it was okay for them to lie, to cheat, to manipulate, to mentally, verbally, and emotionally abuse their wives. No one talks about the fact that wives, women, little girls that turned into young women were taught that you're supposed to submit to that man that's doing that. And no matter what's going on, what has happened, you're supposed to work hard at ensuring that the family stay together. That you're there for the husband, that you're there for the children, that you're there for everyone but yourself. This was what was sold to the woman. And listen, people, when I talk to you about and explaining to you what was sold to you, you have to understand the idea of these things were made up centuries before we were even thought about being born. Okay? So by the time we were born, it was not a clear understanding where these things came from. It just was normal. It was just a part of society. And so we just did as everyone else was doing and just lived, and it was like, okay, this is what the men do. That's just what men do, and we all know about the double standard. And listen, this is not to demonize the man. He was programmed as well. And this is what I've been trying to say on different videos here. But we have this issue, this gender thing. Everybody's fighting. Well, what about the women? Well, what about the men? We have to tell the truth about where this came from. We all know that there was a male dominance. There's still male dominance in our world. Listen, I have a degree in political science. Philosophy was my minor. So, of course, I know a little bit more because I've studied things. History, philosophy, political science, sociology, some psychology. I've studied these things, so I understand a little bit more than someone that hasn't had any, because in general, education, you're not getting this information. Okay, so you have to get this information from higher education. This is a thing that makes college very valuable. But listen, today we have a lot of people sharing information, a lot of other ways to get the information, so we don't have to necessarily go to college. But by people studying these things, it has really helped others understand. But we have to understand our history. And then we have to take that Bible and read it so we can understand God. And when we do that, we will understand what is right and what is wrong and where we went wrong. If we understand where we went wrong, then we can fix this for us. We can honestly do the John 3:16 and the Romans 12:2. I get it. I get the anger, but we were angry too. We were, the Gen X, we had started seeing things. I was one of those kids that I saw things. I was like, something's wrong with this. I was always looking, and when things would happen, I was always like just trying to figure out like what's going on, like why this person doing this, why this going on. Oh, that's not, I looked at outcomes. I can talk a lot about that, but that's for another video. What I'm saying is that the Gen X, it's even the older generations, the boomers, are probably a little envious of Gen Xers, especially the women, because Gen X women are the first generation of women to get up enough courage to say no to the toxic masculinity that was taught to the man. Gen X women are the first generation that's saying, no, and getting out. Of course, a lot of us have spent decades before we were awakened. But that's what's going on. The awakening has come. And we have had life experiences, a lot of them. And all of those things that was going on was just tearing up our mind, body, and our soul. And we knew we had to make a decision to get out, because the man has a lot more pressure on him, because he's supposed to have this image here. And this is why it's so hard for men to accept the truth that the woman is trying to tell him, because he's so focused on what other people are going to think about him. The noise. You know, the things that people have told him, in order for you to be a man, then this is what you is. They haven't said those words, because those words were said a long time ago, before we got here. But the norms have said that. The things that are accepted have said that. But listen, people, Gen Xers we did get the dream. Most of us have lost a good bit of that dream. Some of us have not only lost the spouse, the children, the home. The dream has just been torn apart. And it's all because we were following humans rather than following God. Yes. We were making vows. A lot of people didn't understand their vows. And that's why, you know, they didn't understand that it's a covenant with God. You know, people getting married and had no interest in being a parent, for real. You know, they liked the image of it, but they weren't willing to put in the work. They weren't ready to, or willing, or wanting to be a spouse, because they didn't want the responsibilities. They liked the way that it looked, but they weren't willing to put in the work. And more than likely, people, those people that weren't ready or willing to put in the work are not the people that were even, they're not even the spouse or the parent that was behind that the dream even happened. The parent, the spouse that fought through everything for the dream. Also for your kids, because when we did these things, when Gen X fought to come up from, you know, out of the, from the ground up, to overcome all of those traumas that was happening in our lives, and we were not able to speak on them. When we were doing that, we were doing it for our children and our grandchildren as well. Now, some people were after money. Some people, that was their goal. But you can tell the difference of the ones that was their goal, money, versus me and my family, and what it is that my family can have their future. You can tell the difference. And listen, I felt like this video was very, very important, because there's a lot of this no contact with parents. And I get it. I get it. Some of them very well deserve it. And really, to be honest, sometimes that separation is needed. If anger is in, you know, you have to get away and separate so clarity can come. That's in any relationship. Relationships, usually, if there's a lot of anger and bitterness and things like that going on, a separation is necessary, no matter what relationship it is. It could be a spouse, it could be a parent-child, it could be a siblingship, you know, other relatives, friends, associates, whatever. If there is bitter, jealousy, anger involved in a relationship, there has to be a separation in order for both people to gain clarity. In order for them to gain clarity whether this person is one of my forever people in my life, or if this person is somebody that was just supposed to be a passing through on my journey in this world. But people, I wanted to do this video because I felt like it's very, very important. Because there is a thing out there that Gen Xers have it so easy. Gen Xers paid the cost for their children and grandchildren to be able to have an opportunity to have a better life. But we've all been bamboozled. That's what's happened. We've all been bamboozled. But here's the great thing. Here's the thing. God is sufficient. God has already given us in that Bible everything that we need for us to be successful in life. We just have to reprogram our minds. We have to accept His ways over our ways, not our ways, because we've been tainted. Humans, the best idea a human can have is still not anything in comparison to God's will. And we can come up with some very, very intellectual things. Yes. But listen, people, I feel like this video was necessary. I pray that it has helped someone. And listen, this is one I usually don't say share on it, and I know that's something that they want us to do. And I understand now why, but this is a video that I feel like if you were going to share one of my videos, this is the one. This is it. Anyways, people, I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.